Hey everyone, I'm Jenna,
I'm Clint, and welcome to the Enchanted Parks and Ports podcast,
where we chat Disney, Universal Cruise Lines, and beyond. Hello, Enchanted Parks and Ports podcast. Welcome to a special episode, a D23 unpack of the Horizons Entertainment Showcase. Last night, we both streamed it on Disney Plus, very last minute. But it happened. We both saw all the announcements live, and we are here to unpack. Is this episode for you, or is this episode for us to fully connect about this? It's hard to say, but come along with us as we chat D23. Clint, how are you feeling after last night coming off of watching the live stream?
Well, I'm really impressed more than anything else because this was commitment on your part. So let's just think about this because this was supposed to start at like 10 o'clock your time.
Yep.
It's about 15 minutes late for any of us who are watching this, and then turn around, and this lasts for 2 solid hours. So you've got to be a little bit on the rivet today from the standpoint of not much sleep. So good for you, my friend, for sticking through the whole thing.
You know what? This is like, I'm well trained for sleep deprivation. Like, this is the art of being a young family, right? Like, what's another couple hours off the clock here?
But I'm going to poke fun because you say well trained for a young family. But I know your partner, Lucas, was snoring on the couch.
He was snoring on the couch. So it was our wedding anniversary yesterday. I don't know if I told you
that.
Oh,
happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So we did go out for dinner. I promise I didn't just make him watch the showcase. We did go out for dinner. We did celebrate, but we got home. And I was like, so there's a thing I want to do tonight, and it's watch this. So he tried to emotionally support staying awake to watch the thing together, but that was just not in the cards. So, he was snoring on the couch. I had to wake him up twice to like get upstairs at the end of the night, but I watched all the reveals live.
Well, because so much of it, they don't advertise what the agenda is, right?
No,
They're not telling you, here's the things that we're going to talk about.
No.
So they do kind of keep you riveted with what's next.
And often like the biggest reveals at the end of these D23 things.
Yeah, I could see where they tried to hit that with this particular one, and we'll get there. I'll be honest, what I thought was really pretty cool was you get Neil Patrick Harris, who's hosting this thing.
Yeah.
It's a great pick. Not only is he somebody that of many generations can connect with from a host standpoint, but this is a cat who genuinely loves Disney.
Yeah. And it is like into the subtle humor of Disney. Like, this guy gets it. He's not like reading a Carousel of Progress script being like, I don't know what this is, but I can play a character. It's like he is connecting to the material to the point that actually there was a number of times that he broke character, right? But there was like a little chuckle. And like, that's the magic of streaming it live, was it actually made me connect with it more. Because
for sure.
It's a room full of like adult Disney nerds, and you're making fun of like the experience or like hilarity of the way this is being presented. And you could just feel in it with him. So I loved it. I thought the intro was amazing, going through the animatronics.
Oh, the animatronics was outrageous. Some of the ways that they poked fun, I thought was really good.
Yeah.
They had the animatronic with Madame Leota where they talk about, no, I'm not an animatronic, I'm projection mapped.
Yes.
And then they turn around and totally dig on Walt Disney World's location for the Hatbox Ghost, which is completely wrong. It should be after the seance scene, but it's before in the hallway, which drives most Disney fans crazy because they got it right on the West Coast.
Right. Yeah.
It's just completely wrong on the East Coast.
But you know what is more wrong? Is a Yeti that broke a couple months after opening and never got repaired. And they also joked at that and maybe even foreshadowed a little something there.
Yeah, they kind of, you were thinking that in that moment. You're like, are we like what are we gonna get? Because they did that. But again, what I can appreciate is an organization that can poke fun at itself. They're like,
Totally.
we're not perfect. Some of these things, yes, we get a lot of shade on, and probably rightly so, with at least a few of these things.
Yeah. Or like when at the, end of opening and it all goes dark, we're having technical difficulties, Joe Rody has to come and reset something. Loved it. And also because, and this might sound odd to the wrong human, but because that's part of the Disney nostalgia for me too. I don't know. Like, yes, obviously everything operating at all times would be great, but is there a part of me that maybe even liked that scene because I connected with it in a unique way? Yes.
Yeah, where they're talking about B mode, like they're
Yeah.
working all of this in, like, because we as regular park goers, we know all of the lingo, and they
Yeah.
were speaking to your point, kind of the Disney nerds in the audience with this intro. I
Yeah.
mean, this would have been over the head of most lay Disney people,
Oh yeah,
right?
Lucas was for sure a little bit like what's happening. But there were moments that he connected with. It's just like the levels of nuance are different, right?
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
So let's jump in. And I really like, there wasn't a lot that was shared about Disney Plus.
Well, the entertainment showcase was the night before. So we got a lot of like
Correct.
a lot of movie news then, but they did share. I was actually a bit surprised that this was included in this showcase, but I think just because of the nature of what it was included here.
And it was really playing homage, right,
Yeah.
to a group of people who make such a difference in our park lives. The ones who are always trying to think this stuff up and keep it fresh. And, do they catch a lot of grief sometimes? Sure they do, but it doesn't stop them from kind of thinking forward, dreaming forward, and creating new attractions for us. But these are a couple of things that for like a Disney Imagineering nerd like me who I watch these things on repeat. If
Yeah.
I'm not watching some form of Imagineering show that I've seen 17 times again across this month, that's a month where you got to wonder, am I okay?
Right.
And so, from this standpoint, the fact that I didn't even know a documentary was coming out today as we film this episode called World Builders, that was brand new news to me.
Yeah, and like I'm assuming that you will watch this today.
I will absolutely watch this today. It's going to take up space in, again, my spouse's, because she gets to participate too, right? We
Come
just
along,
kind of
Carrie and
pull,
Lucas.
yes, we just pull them right along. It's kind of like gravity. And so with that, it's going to be great. I want to see what they're coming up with, even if it's a new slant on an old thing. I'll
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
new
yeah.
slant.
Sure. But the thing that really caught my attention too was the Imagineering story season 2 coming out. And I'm reading this as pandemic focused.
I think it starts in the pandemic, but here's what I think's going to happen. They've got so much build going on, and with this being early 2028,
Yeah. Oh,
they've got enough
interesting. Yeah,
time
yeah,
to
yeah.
really build this out through the current phase of construction. So would I be surprised that we will get some of the things that are being built like right now, like Cars Land, some of
Yeah.
the early Villains Land, some of the different things that Tropical Americas,
Yeah.
whatever it is, I think probably get included in this because you don't get a chance to go back and recapture the footage.
Yes. Yeah. That's actually a really good point. So I think that that's likely to be. I hope there's a focus on the pandemic though, because that was such a pivotal moment in so many people's lives that I think at this point we're all like, can we not talk about it? Can we forget
Yeah.
that that happened? But it was this experience of like collective trauma that also a lot of Disney fans turned towards the parks after that experience to like reconnect with nostalgia, reconnect with like this thing that was comforting. So I actually would be very intrigued to hear a bit about that story or about the experience for Imagineers being like, what do we do when the world stops? Right?
For sure. And I think we'll definitely, they've got to weave that in. It's
There's
too
something. Yeah.
significant not to.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see what we get. It's one of those things that I think sometimes people hear a 2028 timeline, and sure, that seems like a far off place
Yeah.
or and time. But just to know that something is coming that way, and I'll just remind the listeners that they do have some new stuff out on YouTube called This Is Imagineering. They're more shorts than they are full-length kind of episodes. But if you're into this and it's something you're like, man, I need
something
that
now.
fix.
Yeah,
yes. That's a space to go get it.
I've also been loving Behind the Attraction has some new episodes on Disney Cruise Line.
They did. Those were a surprise.
Yeah, including so one episode specific to the Destiny too. So if you have a Destiny sailing coming up or that's on your radar, definitely check out those episodes. But yeah,
Speaking of, we've got to talk a little Disney cruise now. Now, here's the thing. I know there was like, I don't know, an hour and a half
yeah.
where Jenna is sitting on her couch going, will you guys just get to the good stuff?
And I honestly feel, Disney, hear me out. We need to open with Disney Cruise Line because there's a select audience there that's like specific just for the cruise line, and it takes up way less of your time than the parks. So just give it to us first. Let us go to bed, and then we can hit the parks, shall we? I would still have listened for the parks, but the cruise line, I had some guesses as to what was going to be announced.
You texted me some guesses.
Yes, a whole list, really. But one of the things that I thought was going to happen was I thought we were going to get a Believe Atrium statue. And we did. And I thought we might hear about bow and stern characters, and we did. So that's lovely. That was really the big news of the night, I would say, and some itinerary stuff. So let's get into the Believe stuff and then chat itinerary, because I also have feelings about that. But the Believe...
Deep rooted feelings.
Believe. So we are pivoting from Minnie on the bow, which is totally different than any other Wish class ship. Like if you look at the Wish class ships, on the Wish, we have Captain Minnie. Love that for her. We're in our women empowerment captain era.
Yep.
We have Adventure Minnie. Love that for her. Okay, so we're tying in the theme of a ship and Minnie's experience being in that theme. Great. We're going to stay consistent with that. Superhero Minnie. Love that for her. This is great. I'm loving this, like different versions of Minnie. You can meet different versions of Minnie on the ships. Yes, I'm buying this. Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell is the bow character on the Believe. I actually loved this when they shared it. I was like, such a deep-rooted original character. Maybe only second to Mickey himself, right?
Yeah, and
I mean,
I was very team Tinkerbell for the Believe in a prominent way. I wanted Tinkerbell Atrium statue. That was what I was manifesting. Like, we must believe in fairies. This makes sense to me. This is like a whole thing. What I wanted on the bow was Fairy Minnie. Like, I wanted a Tinkerbell, because look at all the other ones, right? We have like Adventure Minnie, we have Super. I wanted Minnie, but version, right? I wanted like some kind of, okay, if it's not Fairy Minnie, maybe like, I don't know, some kind of fairy godmother Minnie, like something that's Believe Minnie. I don't love that we pivoted off of that because I want to meet Minnie in her Believe wear. And maybe they'll still give me that. Maybe Minnie will still have a new look for this ship. But
guaranteed.
You think so? Okay, I'm
for
fine
sure.
with it if they still give Minnie her own identity on this ship. But I was loving that storyline for us. I was loving the idea of collecting these images across the Wish class ship. So I want to see Minnie something on this ship. But Tinkerbell, yes, iconic, absolutely makes sense for the Believe. And then we have our first Pixar bow characters.
Yeah, we got Buzz and Woody, they're having I don't. Are they painting something? I think they were.
No,
They
they have
painting.
crayons. Of course they have
That's what it
crayons.
is.
Because they're Buzz and Woody. Like, they wouldn't have paint.
Yes.
They have crayons.
I just think that is so fantastically well done.
Yeah.
When they said that, I'm like, this will be a draw for your Pixar fans who are maybe they're not huge cruisers, maybe they're not, into that scene, but this will attract a different number of families because of these Stern characters.
Oh, yeah. With Toy Story 5 coming out, it was gonna be something prominent on this ship. And there's a lot of things that don't make sense on the Wish Class ship. Like, do I want a Toy Story lounge? Probably not. Do I want a Toy Story dinner theater? That doesn't really make sense. So the bow characters just make the most sense to me. So I'm really happy with that's the way that we're getting prominent Toy Story.
Well, and I think from a significant standpoint, I mean, you think about childhood play, right?
Yeah.
Believing and imagining
Yes.
and doing all that is such a integral part of what my childhood play was. I'm sure your
Totally.
childhood play. I know
Yeah.
it's evolved for kids now where, things are much more naturally interactive, but the interaction largely had to happen between your ears.
Yeah.
And you were animating these things yourself, and I love that connection to this ship's core identity.
Yeah. That's interesting because the way they framed it is like when they show images of of Buzz and Woody is this idea of like believing in each other.
Yes.
But the way you just described it actually lands better for me of like believing in play, believing in the experience with toys. Like all of that, I don't know, like sells it more for me. So you should work on DCL's marketing team and sell that because I just bought into this ship in a different way. And
All right.
we have Moana, atrium statue.
I thought this was genius. I think for me, they could not have picked a different one. Tink would have been good.
Yeah.
But this one nails it.
Yeah. I love Moana here. I do acknowledge, though, this is really a first in maybe Black Panther similar, but oftentimes the atrium statue is a real classic. Like, we're just starting to see newer characters who don't have like a super long history of fandom, if you will, join the atrium statues. And I love that. I think this is because it's connecting to a new generation of people. And Moana, like, she is a wayfinder. She deserves an atrium spot on a boat. I just think that makes sense. So I'm loving that for her. I'm curious if we get other Moana on the Believe. Like I was hoping for something like a Moana lounge, Moana dinner theater, Moana something more. So I'm curious if like this is our Moana or we're going to see something else too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to know because you've got to strike a right balance.
You do, yeah.
And so you can't get too much of a good thing. I just think for me, this one was perfect because, again, connecting back to that theme of the ship, the believe in yourself, the believe in your family, the
your
believe
destiny.
in your destiny and your journey and the whole, like, she hits it on every level.
Yeah, believe there's something more out there, Moana too, right? Like there's a lot here that does fit. And I think the tones of this ship are going to be these tropical kind of color scheme. I'm picturing like oranges, golds. That's kind of the imagery that we got, which I'm really excited about. I think that kind of similar color scheme plays really well on the treasure. And so I'm excited to see how the Grand Hall goes. I wish with revealing Moana, they revealed the Grand Hall. Like that would have felt more like a, I'm really buying in. Then I just got Moana, I got a glimpse of the Grand Hall, but I wanted a little peek more, but that's maybe just me being greedy and wanting more details about this ship before October. So we'll see.
Yeah, they're potentially probably just not wanting to steal the thunder from some of the Wish stuff they've already got planned and some of those things. So did love it. Now they announced something new. It definitely wasn't the new from an itinerary standpoint that you were looking for.
No.
But they did talk about West Coast sailings,
Yeah.
where they are doubling the fleet out of San Diego. I think predominantly what we've seen is they've run a lot out of the West Coast for Alaska sailings.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to see them expand their Ensenada and Mexico and some of those kinds of sailings, just trying to make it
Yeah.
much more accessible. I do like this. I think expanding the fleet to 13 ships, they have a lot more choice in where they're sailing ships out of. So this is going to be great because I think for a lot of people, they think Disney Cruise Line only happens out of the East Coast, and there
Yeah.
is a lot of value out of the West Coast.
And it's going to allow more of that land and sea with Disneyland Resort. So that will be a really cool experience. I imagine what we're going to see is the magic and wonder when they're done their Alaska season transfer to San Diego. But who knows? It would be cool to have a couple different classes of ships on the West Coast to choose from. But that's just what I imagine is kind of a natural transition there. So we'll see how that kind of plays out in the years to come, especially when we're adding more ships to the fleet. Um, I was hoping for New York. I know so many other Disney Cruise Line fans were. And when they talked about San Diego, the person who was presenting it was kind of like talking slowly, like building it. It sounded like there might be a second thing, right? When they said the San Diego double sailing, they have this imagery of a ship with like a city line background. I'm like, here comes New York. Everyone hold on to your hats. And then that was it. It was
Yep,
just
nothing. It was kind of like wah wah
so I'm
wah.
not giving up hope in that we are getting a new class of ships, which was the other news, but not news. That was announced last D23. We just reconfirmed it, right? We already knew that their size was going to be between the two classes. The teaser video didn't give me anything new, really. The only thing I kind of caught quickly is that the spa, it looks like the rainforest room kind of Mickey themed covering of that still looks at the front of the ship. So we can maybe see some Wish class inspiration and design. But that was about all that I caught on that one. But yeah, so we knew that that was going to happen. So I still think there's a possibility that New York happens with some of those ships. I don't know. We got to put these ships somewhere. Why not New York?
Yeah, I definitely think that that's true. And we may see it develop before then, given that they're balancing across now their ports, right? They've
Yeah.
opened Galveston, they've
Right.
plussed San Diego and LA kind of situation. They're still running their standard fleet out of Florida.
Yeah.
They've kind of, you know, played with their European sailings. You now have Asia sailings.
Yeah.
So I wonder if part of it is Disney figuring out, given their current set of resources, what can we manage? Like, really, what can we make happen before we do that? I think once they know that rhythm, there's a chance you could get maybe not a ton of sailings, but maybe a ship, at least at times,
Yeah.
operating out
I'll
of New
take
York.
that. I'll take that. Give me what I can get. I also feel like with these smaller ships, the whole concept is more port options, right? So those ships in particular, I don't see doing the Florida Castaway Lookout Nassau runs. Those ships are gonna be doing something unique, whether that's in Europe, whether we see them go to Hawaii, right? Whether we see them go Australia way again, whether we see something super unique, like imagine a Disney Cruise Line Galapagos or something. So I'm intrigued to see how this all plays out. Um, One thing I caught, I don't know, I love a good Easter egg. Do I read into these too much? Maybe. But when they were doing the teaser video, the word on top of the video, like on the D23 screen where they were, like writing performers' names or whatever,
Yeah.
it said possibility. The Disney possibility, is that going to be one of the ships? I don't know. Like, why are we putting that word?
I think you're reading something into that one, my friend.
Let's circle back in 2029 because I'm just
Okay.
putting a little like they gave us something. Just saying.
Maybe without us realizing, there's a chance. I'm just like, does that word actually really work? I understand where it works with Disney, but it's like I'm gonna sail on the possibility. Just doesn't have the punch that like the Believe does,
The
or
Believe
the
has a good
Magic or Wonder,
punch.
like those things, right?
Maybe
It's
they're
just
trialing it.
so
They're gonna
good.
see. They're gonna see. Maybe it's
Oh,
like, let's put it out there. Let's see how the Disney podcast world reads into this, and then we'll go from there. But let's hit the parks because there's so much park stuff to unpack. Why don't you take us through some West Coast things?
yeah, so West Coast, and I think sometimes Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park feel like they get the short end of the stick a little bit from a development standpoint. One of the things that is just their truth is they are so landlocked, it's not even funny.
Yeah,
There's
space.
just not a lot unless we're going to start creating a vertically built Disneyland or something
Which
like this, right?
is not what they're doing with a couple of
That's
those
very
rides.
true. It is very true. And so we're really kind of just seeing some things that we've known about confirmed. They did talk about, and I was surprised by this, they're reprising Remember Dreams Come True as a ninth time spectacular starting in February. You're going to get a World of Color update. Thank goodness. Because World of Color Happiness is my least favorite World of
Mm,
Color. Give me the original first, then
yeah,
give me one, then like this latest version
yeah.
just didn't have it for me. And then they're reprising also Music Happens Parade in summer of 27. So we're gonna see some of these things. And while people say we just get a parade or we just get a nighttime spectacular, it's amazing to me how big a draw just these kinds of things are, right? You bring back
100%.
Paint the Night, you bring back Starlight, you bring back some of these things. Man, they bring people to the park.
I was excited. Like the Magic Happens parade, I want to see with Abby. We're planning
Yes,
a summer 2027 Disneyland adventure, and I feel like that's a big sell for my family.
it's a huge sell.
So
And so
yeah,
then they continued to give us some things that, again, we know about, right? They talked about the doubling of Avengers campus. Something that they're building into this is we are getting original characters voiced in on this. Great timing from their standpoint. So currently they're filming or have just completed filming of Avengers Doomsday, which means they had all the people on set. Right?
might as well just
So
record a ride. What do you say,
that
guys? One extra.
that's what they did with not Cosmic Rewind, with Mission Breakout, right? They
Right.
were filming a movie. They had Guardians of the Galaxy when they were doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's like, we're just gonna make some more money with the same money we're already spending, right?
Do you
So
think that's how it like? Do you think Disney's
I
like
do.
quick bonus, or do you think they're like, hey, we'll throw in a bonus here if you do this? Like,
I think they're probably paying the actors for it, but to not have to do a double shoot makes a lot of sense from
yeah,
their
yeah, yeah,
standpoint.
yeah,
But it also ensures we get canon, right? You're not
yeah,
getting something that's an offshoot or fake or something like this.
yeah.
So both Stark Flight Lab and Infinity Defense are gonna have original characters. One of the things that really stuck out for me on the Infinity Defense disclosure is this is going to be a ride that is going to have physical sets.
Hmm. We're
I
not just
think
screens.
for sure. So I think that matters, at least for me, because
Oh
in
yeah,
today's technological era, it is so easy to default to some kind of visual flat screen trickery, those kinds of things. And is it good? Sure, it's good. But I love a good physical experience.
yeah. Oh, it's part of what makes Disney feel like you're there in a really magical way. Like for sure, kids can tell the difference between a screen and a physical set, right? And I feel like a physical set makes it feel more real when you're 5
Oh, it
and you're
absolutely makes it feel more
going through
real.
all of this. And what I'm really excited about on the West Coast is Coco. Speaking of the littles and the way that we're also doing some like for lack of better terms, proper Disney nostalgia dark rides, right?
Yep.
We're taking the heart of what a Disney World ride is, which when I think about that, I'm thinking Small World Peter Pan, right? Heart of Walt Disney World, heart of Disneyland resort rides.
Yeah, I think about just your classic dark ride that we get on the West Coast. You're getting a Pinocchio's, you're getting
Right,
a
Alice.
Snow White, you're getting these kinds of,
Yeah.
are they long? No. Are they complex? No. And you'll go get on them multiple times in the same day.
And it will be just like this magical. I'm really going through Casita. I'm already jumping ahead to Tropical Americas. I'm really going through Miguel's memories moment, right? Like there's all of that kind of nostalgia for the adults of like a Disney ride, if you will, and then new storylines that keep it up to date, right? And so I'm really excited about this. I love that it's no height requirement. I love that it's a boat ride. Like it's just giving me classic but updated.
I completely agree. And again, this is one of those that's highly constrained by size. It's going to be in Disney California Adventure Park, probably just off Pixar Pier. We've kind of known that location a little bit. I think some things we didn't get on the West Coast that it was like, yeah, they said, yeah, it's coming. But, we've known that Avatar should be on its way. They've made some major changes to things that happen West Coast, like Run Disney events, some of these
Yeah.
kinds of things, because of the anticipation of this. And yet we didn't get a whole lot or any other than, yeah, it's coming.
Which was interesting because they mentioned it in kind of part of another skit. They just like mentioned Avatar, and that was some of the loudest applause of the night. Because people thought they were about to get Avatar announcements. And then it was like,
And then it was gone.
and that was it. That we're just acknowledging it does still exist, and that's fine for now. I also felt similarly with the Tomorrowland refurb, where it was like a also this.
It wasn't, and that was, I think that's one of those big kind of blue sky things
Yeah.
that they throw in. Like you said, they kind of save the big kind of heavy hitting punch for the end.
Yeah.
I think this was supposed to be that. And I think for me, it was, if you do some inference.
Yeah.
So some things that we'll talk about, well, I can start now, is you sent me a text that said Space Mountain refurb.
Right.
Not domestically.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the Tokyo, what was it called? I'm Earth launch, something or other, where you actually launch into space in Tokyo. I'm like, can we bring that? That sounds cool. I want that.
Yes, but I think that's exactly the inference I'm talking about. Is
Ah.
you take this, like Disney doesn't, they don't waste good stuff.
No,
right?
if they develop a cool thing, yeah.
Then it's probably gonna get adapted for domestic use. And when I say domestic, it's gonna be going back to the West Coast potentially as part of this refurb. Again, I think Disney's going to suffer a little bit with the futures part of this expansion, right? Because they always want to be stretching the bounds.
Yeah.
What's new? What's different? I mean, Walt and his team suffered from it. How do you predict the future?
Yeah.
Really hard to do.
That's kind of tricky. Yeah.
I think current Imagineers are probably going, how do we do that? What are we going to do? So, I think we're going to get this combination of upgraded, cool, nostalgic kind of just let's embrace the past, the history, some of those kinds of things, space age, all of that kind of stuff. We might as well, bake that into the new refurb. But I think what they don't know about is where's the stretches that go beyond what we know now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. So I'm curious. I would have loved like a blue sky concept art
Yep, agreed.
because I would have loved to dissect that in great detail, as many have with Villains Land. Because they kind of gave us that last year or 2 years ago, where they were like, Villains Land. And it was this kind of blue sky. Like they said, it was in action, which it
Yep.
is, but they gave this big concept art piece that everyone could be like, whoa, Raven, Maleficent's castle, dude, this. Oh, is that a coaster track? Like all of these pieces. Just give me that. I want that.
For sure. And so, as we jump back East Coast, I want to do this in an order. I want to save Magic Kingdom
Save it.
for last.
Yeah, that feels right.
That
Okay.
it does feel right given how much attention, but let's roll over to one of the parks that I know is your maybe your favorite. I don't
I
know this
love them all. It
definitively,
depends on the day, but yes,
but one that hasn't had for about 18 months a lot of attention. It's been super stable.
yeah,
It's been great from that standpoint as a park goer.
yeah.
It's the one place I can go that I don't have to worry
No
about
construct.
construction walls,
Yeah.
like all the stuff, right?
Hmm.
It's a safe haven of completeness.
Until it isn't. And
And
that's the spirit of Walt, right? Is it's Disneyland will never be done, right? Epcot will never be done. So we're talking Epcot. We're talking some refurbs of real classics. So we have two, Spaceship Earth, which I think was a little unexpected. I don't think
completely
a
unexpected
lot,
for me.
a lot of people saw this one coming. I do think a lot of people had an inkling about our purple stinky dragon friend, Figment, getting a new attraction. And that really was, I think, a lot of people's highlight of the night. Like we saw huge applause for that one.
It was big. And I do think like Spaceship Earth, there's only going to be so much that they can do with this,
Yeah.
right? Before you get Disney fandom eating your lunch.
Well, I do like the pivot of kind of history of connection because that's really the next era. And I was actually thinking as they were announcing that, I was looking at the crowd and everyone just filming on their cell phones and thinking like, yeah, do we need that? I kind of feel like maybe we need that. I'm really open to this idea of the history of connection. Don't take away my perfect nap spot. Don't add thrills and things that I'm not prepared for. Don't take away the star scene. Like leave some of the major pieces, but I'm fine with updating a little bit of kind of this attraction to tell a story in a way that is going to be important moving forward.
I think you're completely right. And I think it's not that big a stretch from the
No,
standpoint that a lot of connection is built through
communication.
communication, right? So you
Totally.
just take, instead of it being a storyline about communication, which is kind of what it is now, you talk about how that communication is a functional vehicle through which we build connection across time and space.
Yeah. And I do think we need like new screen prompt things. I'm good with that. If we want to update those, sign me up for that.
Yeah, the ride vehicles need to change.
Yeah.
Like you've got to reinvent those. You've got to probably update. I mean, I'm going to think that they're going to maybe go as far as revamping the track, smoothing it out a little bit.
Mm.
Doing some
Oh,
of
then
those
it's
kinds
really
of
going to be
things.
prime nap spot. You smooth out that track anymore, and like every Disney parent is going to be quickly out on that ride.
Yeah. And then Figment,
Figment.
man, I've got no clues as to the direction this thing's gonna go.
I have no idea either. I'm excited for it. I'm sad that probably it won't be a walk on for a hot minute anymore. I like a purple stinky dragon just walk on. It's absolutely absurd. I hope we keep the absurdity of it because I feel weirdly connected to that. Obviously they're doing nothing with Figment, but it continuing his storyline because he's iconic and he is really that park's mascot, if you will, and deserves a ride that everyone loves. So I'm excited, but I'm also skeptical because I don't know. It's one of those like my family has the nostalgic connection to that one. So I think both of these with Epcot is going to be a fine line of like keeping the nostalgia and updating, continuing to push new boundaries.
I agree with you. I think the one thing that I'm looking forward to is them finding a way to plus the ride's match to its name. I really
Right.
hope that they keep the name Journey into Imagination. There's something
Yeah.
about that that just works. And how do you take this concept of imagination and bring it out of the 80s
Yeah.
and into the
Sure.
2020s
Yeah.
and blow this thing wide open with
Yeah.
a lot more of the tricks? Like this is that opportunity to let's make a kids version of Rise of the Resistance, right? Let's do
Mm.
something where you're taking that level of trick
Yeah.
and baking it into a ride and giving people just something that is completely mind bending.
Yeah. And I love that they're doing this with a ride that is not like Disney IP. It's Parks
Yes.
IP, right? Like that I really love because there's something important about that to me still. So I'm excited for these kind of Epcot changes. Was I hoping for like a new fireworks show too? I was down for that. Sounds like we're just gonna have Luminous for a while longer, which is fine.
Yeah,
Luminous is fine.
it's
But
fine.
I was kind of hoping maybe we'd see a new Epcot fireworks. But this is still, yeah, both great announcements as far as Epcot goes. Shall we hop over to Hollywood?
Yeah, let's get on the Skyliner. We'll cruise over to
We'll just
Hollywood
cruise over to
and
Hollywood.
yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Tell me, what was your reaction when they did some confirmations for us at Hollywood?
I was excited. I think for me, them given the video walkthrough of the land itself, I
That was
thought
cool.
really gave you a tangible belief that this thing is close.
Yeah.
They did confirm something that we knew was on the horizon, right? Based on what was going on the social, some of those kinds of things. Harryhausen's guaranteed. What I even like better than that is they're giving us the kind of octopus
Yeah.
chef.
Yeah.
They confirmed that's going to be baked in. So they're gonna give you full-on movie vibes with this location based on what they released last night. So good. I thought that was great. They reinforced kind of the Humans Day concept
Yeah.
with the area by talking about Welcome to Monstropolis,
Yeah.
which is the show.
Great. I have no idea what to expect from that still, really, which is how I like it. I'm okay with just showing up and seeing how that goes. Um, but yeah, it was cool to see the walkthrough, to feel like it's getting close, to feel like there's like real traction going on, hear that restaurant coming out. They said that the restaurant, so they we're gonna have sushi chef, which I love. They also said, it will be a great place to take your schmoochy poo or whatever Mike calls
Yep.
calls his date there, which implies to me this could be more of like a signature dining experience.
That's what it leaned to for me. I'm a little,
Mhm.
I don't know if worried's the right word, but I don't want this thing to be overly exclusive to the point that your average park goer can't enjoy it, because
Yeah,
it's just that epically iconic
yeah,
in Monsters Inc. canon.
totally. I think it will be accessible. Like if I think about some great date night spots on Walt Disney World property, like I'm thinking Steakhouse 71 we did on our last trip. It's a proper steakhouse and still felt totally fine having my 4-year-old and baby there. So
Yeah.
like I imagine it will be similar vibes. I am curious if we're gonna get an adult exclusive lounge. They didn't actually announce that, but when they said, oh, help me remember, it was something like Elite Scarers Club or
Yes, and again, they didn't give a lot of detail
no.
about that. Where the elite scarers are recognized. It was almost
Hmm.
kind of like and maybe they'll treat it more as like a sports bar, kind of. I don't
Oh,
know.
interesting. Yeah, so we'll see. Um, and then of course we have Coaster. suspended coaster. We have the rapid launch. Excited for that to be a thing. Excited for that to open.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a bit thrilling from the standpoint that they said it's going to raise you and launch you in 4 seconds.
Right. And do you think this is going to, like, I've been curious about the Lightning Lane landscape on this one. Do you think it's going to bump something to tier two? Like, similar to how Soarin' was once tier one at Epcot and became tier two. I'm curious if we're going to see something else bump out of tier one because we're getting a lot of tier one stuff at Hollywood right now.
Here's my fear. You want to know what my fear is?
What?
It's going to be single pass.
Oh, yeah, they could because at Magic Kingdom, two single pass.
And this is going to be prime for it. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
because the attraction's going to be there.
It's indoor.
It's indoor. Like
Disney
it's
loves
got.
an indoor single pass. Yeah. Mm, I
I
suspect you're
don't love.
right.
I think it's leaning that
I
way
suspect
because
you're right. We'll see. We'll see. That's Clint's guess, but I'm excited for Monstropolis. Biggest thing was they said it's opening 2027. It's opening early. Amazing. Love that. We got an actual timeline. I will say this D23 little short on the actual timeline, so feels super good to have a number and be like, "Oh my gosh, 2027." Like we could be in Monstropolis. We're planning like a Christmas vibe 2027 Walt Disney World. We could be in Monstropolis then. So that's amazing.
there's a great chance. And though, temper your expectations because that's without the coaster operating.
Ah, right. Right. So yeah, I'm still happy to be in Monstropolis without the coaster.
For sure, but the coaster will follow on because I don't think they're anywhere near the opening timeline for that. Now, will it follow 6 months later or something like that? Probably.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like maybe that's not the worst thing in the world is to still give people the space, an extra show, because you know, Hollywood doesn't have enough shows. It
Well, it's the other cornerstone of the park though.
is,
And I
absolutely.
think it's going to be great. I think what we'll get with that one is probably some great audience slapstick kind of
Oh
humor.
yeah, which I
It's going to be so
love.
good.
I love that about Laugh Floor, right? I was expecting
Yep.
some kind of Laugh Floor announcement this trip. Like Laugh Floor doesn't make sense in Magic Kingdom anymore to me. So I thought that it was going to be, yeah, changed into something else. We haven't heard that yet. I suspect we'll hear that next D23, but
Yep.
we'll leave that for now. So that is Hollywood. Shall we go to Animal Kingdom?
Yeah, let's do Animal Kingdom. And you talked about something as we started the show that our a big furry friend who's been kind of I don't know, lazy for a long time, but Expedition Everest is gonna go down
Yeah, for good reason.
for a very good reason.
Yeah, Disco Yeti is gonna just disco right on out of here. We're getting a functioning Yeti.
Well, we're being promised a functioning Yeti. We
I
were
think
promised a functional Yeti from the beginning. And it's taken how long for this to get prioritized? I don't know if it's the complicated mechanics of the way they originally built this. Like what has
it's also
held
just
this
like
up?
they can't. It's a hard sell to lose a ride at Animal Kingdom right now and to lose a
Yep,
thrill ride. So I suspect what's going to happen is, and they didn't give us a timeline, but I
they
suspect
didn't.
what's going to happen is we're going to see Tropical Americas open and then Yeti go down.
For sure, without a doubt. And probably no, not probably. This ride hasn't been refurbed in a minute, right? So they'll
Oh yeah,
probably package a
yeah.
refurb with the Yeti fix and completion. Um, I'm just gonna beg our listeners. I don't know, Jenna, about you, but this one bugs the crud out of me to no end. And I'm hoping that as they do this, and I wish they could find a way to change human behavior,
Hmm.
but people stop shooting your stupid rubber bands at the top of this ride when you get done because you're junking up an incredible spot in
Yeah.
Walt Disney World. Can we just change that as part of this refurb and make
Can
a
we?
promise to Disney
Yeah.
that we're not gonna be like completely bad humans
Yeah.
by poor behavior on this particular spot just because there's a chance for me to do that?
This is our chance collectively to not, right? So let's not. Let's collectively decide we're gonna keep this thing as beautiful as we can, right?
That's just it. Disney works hard to give us beautiful things.
Can we not
We
handle
just
nice things? I'd like to
That's
handle
it.
nice things. Please, please. Speaking of nice things, tropical Americas. Let's start with the low and then we'll go to the highs. The low, where the heck is our timeline, Clint?
Yeah, I think this is a huge undertaking,
It's
right? We're
so
probably
big.
still talking early 2028.
We just don't know. And the thing is, I'm not convinced it's early 2028 because we don't, like, I feel like that would have been a timeline that's announceable, right? If we're saying 2028, early 2028, that feels close enough that I could see that being announced, but we don't have a timeline yet. So I think it could be later than that. I don't know. We'll see, but we don't have a timeline. And now let's talk about the pros because oh my gosh, this land looks amazing.
It
Everything
really
coming to
does
this
look
land.
amazing. And you're getting 3 attractions.
And three stellar attractions. Like I'm excited about all of them for different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the fact. So we'll start with maybe the most kid friendly in this
Yeah.
case, and the one that's probably the easiest for them to pull off
Yeah.
is we're getting a carousel of hand carved animals. They gave us the lineup last night. We
Yeah.
got there 22 different animals, distinct animals on this. They made a quip about the merchandising aspect of it.
And I immediately text Clinton was like, "Yep, 22 of those stuffies will at some point make their way into my house. I just know it between both girls. Like at some point they will both want stuffies, you know what I mean? So I like yeah, I think that's genius from a marketing standpoint. I can't decide if the idea of having because they're not just animals. They're Disney characters we know and love, right? We're getting Simba,
Yes.
we're getting Nigel, we're getting um Eeyore. Like, there's all of these characters that we know. I can't decide if that's the best idea Disney's ever had. And oh my gosh, what a magical thing. We're going to be riding all the characters. We're going to be like, what life out of this ride because my kids are going to want to go on it over and over and have different characters. Or if we've set ourselves up for meltdowns over not getting Simba, over not
Oh,
getting so and so over like because
yeah.
currently with Dumbo, there's always a moment of, am I going to get the purple elephant? And this is just way higher stakes if it's like Simba's my favorite character. So,
It's incredibly high stakes. I mean, at our local zoo's carousel, Taylor had a horse she would ride,
right.
and she would skip riding in a certain turn
Yeah.
to be first in the next turn
To get
in
her
order
horse.
to race to her horse.
Right. So, like, is that going to be a thing that now we're navigating? I'm not sure. And this is one of those like only parents would think about this. So I'm curious how that piece will play out. I'm excited about the concept. I love the idea. I just am curious if they're going to end up needing to assign people animals or something. Like, let's see how this plays.
This is going to have wickedly good rewrite
Oh,
potential.
for
I mean,
kiddos? Absolutely it is. Absolutely. The other thing I'm thinking is like kiddos with different favorite characters, are they gonna want to split? And then like, is it like we're not riding together because we're not like just both on a horse, you know? So we'll
yeah.
see. We'll see how it goes, but I'm excited about the idea. I love the rewritability. I love that there's something for little specifically coming to this park. One thing we didn't hear about that was implied in the past, unless I made this up in my head, is we heard there might be a play space in this land. And we didn't hear anything about that last night.
We didn't um and I haven't heard anything about it recently.
No, I hope they
So
have it though, because Boneyard was so good that I'm hoping there's something, right? Like near Indiana Jones, some kind of dig site that fits.
it does fit. And even if it's not there, here's what I think is just so good. So if you've ever been West Coast and you've been to Toontown,
Yeah.
Toontown has epically good play spaces for kids.
Yeah.
Like the kids feel like they just jumped into a cartoon.
Right. I'm so
And
excited
so
for that. Yeah.
it's brilliantly good. So Disney, just learn from your success.
Yeah. That's a draw to me for Disneyland. Like I do think like you and Terry when we go next July need to emotionally prepare for like we might not get Abby and Quinn out of there for like hours. Like grab a snack.
Well, then we may have to rotate adults because there's going to be a lot of others. Like we're just going to rotate Abby and Quinn duty
And
and
ride
have
all the
to.
things. Yeah.
That's it.
Which is kind of awesome, right? Like that's the thing is play spaces aren't actually just for kids. They're for parents. They're for families
Yeah.
because everyone's enjoying in a different kind of way, right? The amount of times we've used the parks at Epcot, like that playground that's near Guardians right outside of Connections, that is the perfect playground for adults to ride Guardians because you can leave kiddo with grandparents at the
Yep.
playground in a way that feels contained for everyone, in a way that feels like entertaining, but also good for grandparents who maybe are feeling nervous about like taking them on a ride solo or something like that, right? So give us that for Indiana Jones too. I would love that.
It'd be great, especially because you're going to have two banger rides
Yeah.
really close to each other in this land that aren't going to be kid friendly. I mean, well,
Mm.
Encanto
And
probably
Kinto's,
is.
oh, fully
Encanto's
kid
totally
friendly.
going to be
Yeah.
kid friendly.
But
So
Indiana.
to your point, Indy's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Speaking of Encanto, Antonio's Fiesta de Encanto, we actually have a name now. I don't know if we had that before. I couldn't
No.
remember knowing it. We didn't get a lot more detail than what we already knew. It's going to be a journey into his room, animals, jungle theme, all of this kind of stuff. They did talk a bit about the ride vehicles.
They look so cool.
Super fun.
Super fun. Like it's a collection of furniture, which totally makes sense from Casita, right? Like think about the way Casita helps Mirabelle in the movie by like building things for her to like go down the house or whatever it is. So Casita's putting together furniture for you to ride through the Casita together. Amazing. The concept art of going up the stairs. That was a moment for me where I was like, "Oh, this is going to be like a really good ride." This is going to be like a real banger attraction. Also, the fact that they talked about scale, I
Yeah.
imagine the reveal when you go into Antonio's room is going to be something akin, in my mind, this is where I went, something akin to Pirates, where you all of a sudden are in the scene where it's like the cannonballs going off at Walt
Uh
Disney
huh.
World, and you're like, how is this building this big?
I think you're gonna get that, but I think the intensity of visual effect is gonna be 10 times
Oh,
that.
I'm sign me up for that because I think also like I love me an animatronic, but I really love me an animal animatronic.
Yeah.
Like always, even in Pirates, like am I super drawn to the, pigs, the chickens, like all
The
of the
cats.
the
I mean,
cat,
yes.
the dog, like they're just so good, right? So I'm super drawn to that. Or like the horses on what am I thinking? Spaceship Earth. Like all of these different animal animatronics are done so well that I'm super intrigued by this ride. I think it's going to be incredible. And I think it's going to change the entire game at that park. I think all of a sudden it's going to make this park like non-optional for young families. It's going to be I'm doing Animal Kingdom and XYZ.
Something that I heard as part of this that I think I really do hope comes true. And that is that this is Antonio's room,
Yeah.
but I heard them say it was also about the family sharing their gifts.
Mm.
And so I wonder if we're not going to get a little bit more interplay with some of the other family members,
Yeah.
because what I was most excited about with this particular ride, and again, for me, it goes back to that authenticity of the original story, is they have reprised all of the original voice actors to be back to do the voiceovers in this attraction, which is just going to make this thing that next level. We talk about, the visual effects, and you get smellitzers and you get
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff. But we cannot underestimate the power that audio brings in these settings. And the fact that we're getting Maribel in her original voice, we're getting,
Yeah.
all of them, is gonna be just so good.
So good. I am so excited for that. We know at least Mirabelle, Isabella, and Louisa are going to be featured in the ride,
Yes.
right? Like we know the sisters are there. I'm curious who else will be there. One can assume Antonia, but like
Well,
who
they
knows?
didn't talk about Bruno, so
They didn't, which I thought that was maybe one of the best jokes of the night. And I was like, why is there not outrageous laughter from the crowd? Because there sure is on my couch.
it
So
was great.
I thought that was so good. And then Indiana Jones, Myth of the Jade Serpent, which is building off of actual Mayan myth, which I thought was appropriate for this park because this park has always been kind of intentional about like cultural respect and building kind of the world around like the what am I trying to say? Building the world around kind of this idea of like actual stories,
Yeah.
whether that be the stories of different animals and the savannah or the stories of dinosaurs that were at one point, right? Like all of these things. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by the storyline. I think it's going to be great. I love the idea of using dinosaur in this way because it makes sense to me. So I'm excited about seeing the reimagining of this one.
I'll be interested to see how they work out the queue for this, because the West Coast queue is part of the experience. I mean, it
Ah,
is just so amazingly good. Now you got to walk a half mile, which is why it's probably so good,
yeah.
but you're walking a hot minute. Again, but it's part of the lead in. It's part of the
Mhm.
anticipatory set. All of those things. I hope we get that with this attraction in a similar way. The other thing that they shared, and I am not sure what Disney had to pay for this, because people are going to go, it wasn't already like that. No, it wasn't already like that. But we are getting Harrison Ford's face. We are
Mm.
getting proper Indiana Jones animatronics.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm excited about this one. I don't really know what to expect because I haven't ridden the West Coast Indiana Jones. It sounds like an entirely new storyline. So I suspect my excitement will grow after riding that one. But right now I'm like, I'm in. Tell me more. I wanna experience this. As you mentioned, the queue, I think, yeah, there's so much potential for cool queue interactions. I'm gonna hop back to Encanto for one more second. I hope we're queuing in Casita and interacting with Casita in the queue.
Oh, for
So
at
that's
least a portion of
at
it.
least a portion. That was my other thought about that. Like, how cool would it be if we see the house moving in different ways in the queue?
Now, I may never be able to get my Abby on this particular
Snake.
ride, because she does not like snakes, and they have
Oh,
confirmed that we're going to get snakes.
yeah.
Although, with the ride vehicle, she may choose just to sit in the middle and be
Yeah,
okay with that.
safe in the
So
middle. I love that. That seems to check out for me. Will she do Jungle Cruise?
she'll do Jungle Cruise.
Okay, I
Does
have
she love
faith
it?
in.
No.
But she'll do
Which
it.
is, to me, it's like, these are animatronic snakes. Come on.
I know, but like your body doesn't know. When your brain
Now,
knows, but your body's
that
like
that's
that.
true.
That's a snake. Yeah, I can respect that. That's a little piece of Animal Kingdom right now. Well, a big piece, really. Once that all comes to be, are we gonna hit Magic Kingdom Park now?
Yeah, we got to go over to Magic Kingdom because this was big.
This
Like
was, yeah.
I mean, when we talk about scale of reveal, again, some of it we knew, but I
Hmm.
think where I want to start is with the most recent and probably lowest thing on people's priority lists. But I thought this part was pretty cool. We knew that we were getting 5 new scenes. We knew that it was going to start in about the 1960s and run forward. We knew we were going to get Walt probably in
Yeah.
the opening scene. Like there was a lot we knew.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then they throw at us that we're going to get Jamie Lee Curtis and Ryan Cranston voicing mom or Papa and Mama as and in the
Yeah.
characters. I mean, that may have gotten some of the biggest applause all night.
Sign me up for that. I think that sounds amazing. I love the idea that we're getting an 80s scene. I think a lot of Disney parents right now are 80s babies, right? And so
Yep.
this experience for people of nostalgia in that way is important, I think, as we continue to upgrade this. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this one. I think it's going to be they're capturing the classic with the new, which is what some of these nostalgic attractions are all about. If we're not saying, RIP Muppets 3D, Muppets Vision 3D, right? Like that was an example of, yes, we know this is nostalgic, but we're going to say RIP for something incredible. If we're reimagining something, then we have to do the balance of nostalgia and new,
Yep.
right? I understand sometimes we're going to have to say RIP to the things we love for the new and exciting, but if we're keeping the thing, then we have to strike the balance, and I think they're going to do it. So I'm excited about Carousel of Progress. That one we got an opening.
We did.
Yeah, when was it? It was summer 2027. Is that what they said? No.
Summer 2027, which
Yeah,
surprised me from a turnaround standpoint. I'm like, man,
right.
they are motoring on this thing.
They're motoring on this thing. And it's like that I appreciate because we know that this is something that we're able to turn around quickly when there's some other things in Magic Kingdom that are bigger, longer term investments,
Yep.
right?
So let's jump over again to one a lot more known,
Mm-hmm.
which is Cars Land,
Yeah, aka Piston Peak.
Piston Peak. So now we have a name, but I was like, didn't we already had a name? But I guess we didn't.
We didn't
But
have a
it's
name for
gonna
the attraction. We knew it was Piston Peak, but we didn't have a name for the attraction, which I'm trying to remember. Ridge Run Rally,
yes.
right? So that's what we got was the name for the attraction. And Piston Peak, yeah, exciting stuff. Like what was standing out for you as they were running through some of this?
So I think for me, it sounds like this is going to really exist in 3 phases.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to have this more slow, kind of entertaining phase. Then you're going to have the rough climb up the mountain. And then you're going to have that climb up the mountain combined with we're going to have snow in Florida.
What? I loved that. I was not expecting that.
No. So then you're going to have this slippery slide, probably kind of crazy adventure down the
Yeah.
mountain. Then you're going to get to the geyser field,
Yeah.
which feels like, again, a little bit of, they've built so many attractions on this concept of we survived something kind of epic.
And the
That's where I
geyser,
kind of think this comes in.
yeah, and the geyser thing felt Incredicoaster to me. As,
Really?
yeah, as they were showing it, the car was like, as the car was going past, the geysers were slowly doing the like Jack, like, do you know what I'm saying? Podcast.
Maybe?
So as Jack run, well, the idea with Incredicoaster is,
Oh, yeah,
or
I got
sorry,
you.
I'm saying Jack, I mean Dash.
Yes, where it's kind of sprays the water as you go by.
As
Yes.
you go by, and it gives the illusion of like running with you, right? As you go by.
Yep.
That's what I'm envisioning for these geysers. So
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think it may be a little more obstacle coursey, like aggressive, where it's like
Okay.
we're avoiding these things.
Yeah.
But again, it's that piece of, man, we just did that. Like I think
That's
that's going to
amazing.
be kind of your crescendo vibe. really excited about that. Again, they poked fun at how much you're able to see over the walls at Big
Yes.
Thunder. Um, so this is again outside maybe the name, a lot more known. They've guessed at a lot of things based on layout. Now we kind of know the phases of the ride.
Yeah.
Super cool. What was mind blowing for me was I had no clue about the second attraction.
No,
I
this
knew
is
there was going to
news.
be one.
Yeah. And I love what they did with it. So it sounds like the way I'm interpreting it is kind of like Mater's on the West Coast. Like there's some kind of spin around vibe, but
Yeah.
Demolition Derby themed. And it looks like you might get wet.
Oh, okay.
This is my vibe because they have the little like goat car, not go kart situation, where all the little goat friends are around. And there's in the model, there's like spraying of water.
Which in the
So
Florida heat's not a bad thing.
I kind of don't hate that. Um, I like the idea of a demolition derby. I love the concept of this land because it does fit with Frontierland, kind of, sort of. I know people will come at me in the comments being like, Frontierland was a very specific era. Yes, I know, I understand, but the landscape fits,
Yep.
right? We're not getting Radiator Springs like we were on the West Coast. We're getting something really different in the Cars landscape.
I'm still going to be interested how they solve the transition problem
Yeah,
to Liberty Square, some of
right.
that kind of stuff. We'll see. But again, this one is going to be kid friendly. I think that's fantastic. So I was super stoked when I heard both of these things. I think this is going to, when you take something away, you better make sure, to your point, you do better than.
Yes.
Well, Tom Sawyer Island and Rivers of America was not going to be real hard to do better than. But the second you connect it to the Cars franchise, now you've set expectation.
You have, and you're not just replicating. You're not saying, "Hey, we're going to have Radiator Springs racers
Yep.
in Walt Disney World." You're saying there's an entirely new story and landscape that actually fits better in this space in this park. And if you love cars, we have multiple different experiences across the US parks for you. So I love that because like you said, it is easy to replicate. If they brought Radiator Springs racers to Magic Kingdom, would it have been successful? Yes. Is this better? Yes.
For sure.
So I really appreciate the intentionality about giving us new and giving us what makes sense. So I'm happy about Cars Land. I hope there's a fritter stand because if they don't, that's a missed opportunity.
Complete miss. And I do too because it's my favorite type of pastry.
I
So,
also love fritters. Yeah, this is the other reason is
amen.
I also just want a fritter stand. But I feel like that's gotta be right, right. So
It has to be.
I'm intrigued by this. I like that they say there's going to be different trails. It's going to feel national parks-y, because that'll be nice too. So we'll see how this all plays out. We don't have an opening date. Was hoping for one, but we're just not far enough in construction, right?
We're not, and these are major builds. I mean,
Major,
we're
major.
probably talking another 2 years at least.
Yeah, like I'm
I'm
not
thinking
thinking
if it shows up in 28,
great.
that would be a major surprise.
Okay, and I need to hear your thoughts on the biggest of all, Villains Land.
Well, we did get a name, which is exactly what everybody's been calling it forever,
Which is
right?
Villains Land. And thank you. Because you know what? You're right. Everything in like Magic Kingdom is land. Land, 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 right? I want to keep that. Piston Peak, I think they're trying to tie into Frontierland.
Yeah, okay. So I can see why they wouldn't have called it a Cars Land,
Yeah.
right? Because it's still going to be Frontier Land.
I
It's
think
just
it's
going to be the Cars attraction in Frontier Land.
exactly. Whereas Villains Land, obviously a different thing. It needs a different name. I like that they're giving us a sense of scale too. They're saying this is going to be Galaxy's Edge size.
which is insane. So we're talking 3 to 4 year construction timeline, right?
Yeah.
Because they are literally going dirt up.
Yeah. So I was happy about that. I like the name. What did you think? Villain's Land fits for you?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was a little anticlimactic,
Right.
but
The
I mean,
name
what
is
else were gonna expect? I mean, you can't do like recently what they did at Epic Universe and create a town stuff like that because then
yeah.
it just doesn't fit. It becomes
Right.
this other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I loved was just the concept of the backstory.
Yes. Oh, they gave us some really good backstory and run us through a little piece of the backstory for people who missed it.
Yeah, so it is again entering kind of a haunted wood kind of situation,
Yeah.
but why are the villains there becomes kind of the question. Like, why
Right.
this space? Why this time? These kinds of things. And the idea that there was a wishing well that somebody cast such an evil wish
Mm-hmm.
into this wishing well that it cracked the magic of the wishing well and is now oozing kind of this I don't know, septic evil was kind of all
Right.
that I could
Sure.
envision that is drawing the villains to this location. I was like, that hits.
That hits. And the villains are after the evil, right? They want the magic of the wishing well. They're all kind of like drawn to this, getting their own space. I like the idea of that makes sense storyline wise as to why everyone's here. I like that there's a distinct entrance too, right? We're gonna have
Yes.
the dark forest. That makes sense to me. I like the idea. Speaking of Epic, right? Like I liked the portal entrances of Epic where it's a now we're here. Now you're in this immersive land. Wandering through the dark forest, isn't that the perfect way to do that? And then obviously you're going to see this cool wishing well at some point. That's going to be something that's there.
It's going
Um,
to be ridiculously good.
yeah, so I love that. And we got some confirmations of attractions
Thank goodness.
because people have just been dying to hear.
Well, and I am so glad, and I may be the only one, but I am so glad that the rumors were wrong
Hmm.
because some of the stuff that was being thrown around and with a high degree of credibility
Yeah.
was just gonna be meh, in my
Was
opinion.
just different. And this is also why we wait for Disney official announcements before we really get invested, people, says the person who looks for every Disney Cruise Line possible Easter egg. But, just frame it that way. So we have a Maleficent coaster. That was the obvious must do for this park.
But was it because there was that we were gonna get Emperor's New Groove coaster with
Yeah. Like I
that whole
still,
storyline and it be more kid friendly and
yeah,
all of this kind and I am like, if you're giving me a villain's land, you better give me the villains.
I still want an Yzma coaster. I still want the pull the lever cronk moment. I don't need it right now. I understand I get two rides right now, but down the road, Disney, please.
Yeah, but like sacrificing Maleficent for that just doesn't even
We
seem
can't
equal.
sacrifice Maleficent because, like, imagine not inviting Maleficent. That's literally her whole storyline. She would implode the whole land. So I
She
get.
would.
So I love the Maleficent coaster in its own way. I do think this land is going to steer scary, not spooky.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, it's gonna be heavy for sure, and I love that.
Yeah.
For I was a little bit worried that this was gonna get neutralized
Too
in
watered
some
down. Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
Disney, I think Disney heard the desire for scary, the desire for kind of the real spooky vibes. So Maleficent coaster, and then we have some kind of cool, I don't fully understand it, but I'm in some kind of cool like magic mirror realm going through the mirror situation.
to a boat ride.
Yeah. I love a boat ride.
I do too. I think it's a great way to kind of experience, multiple levels of villain kind of characters,
Yeah.
right? And again, because we're not trying to stay in a connected storyline.
Doesn't matter.
Right? Like
Yeah.
Cruella doesn't have to stay in her 101 Dalmatians
No.
and Hook doesn't have to
No.
stay in his. Like these are people who are coming to a neutral space.
Yeah.
There is so much that can happen with that.
And I want villain meets.
Oh, for sure. I think you'll get wandering villains. I think,
Yeah.
again, when they say Galaxy's Edge size, I think you're creating a Galaxy's Edge expectation,
Right.
which means you get wandering characters, you get the meet and greets, like you get
Yeah.
the shops, you get all the stuff, unique dining, like everything.
And now I was left confused about something. And I'm curious your take. I don't know if this was that it was very late for a Jenna or if I misread it, but Cruella shows up at the end, right? And Cruella is ticked off. She doesn't have a ride. And she says, get to work on it. Was that an announcement of a Cruella ride, or is she going to have something else? Because they also said something like women always prefer fur or something. So I'm like, is this like, I would assume Cruella is more of a merchandise shop to begin with, but
Yeah.
she specifically called Imagineers to work on her ride.
And that could be future forward. That will not be phase one. I think we will probably get some development in this space across time.
Yeah.
There was no announcement though, and I think they've got to be careful a little bit because you have the current villains unfairly ever after over at Hollywood
Yes.
Studios.
Yeah.
Now the question becomes, and we always think about this, is does that stay?
Yeah, that doesn't make it in the same way that Monsters Inc. Laugh 4 no longer makes sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me there.
So the potential is, do they move it? I mean, it's only a theater. It's not
Yeah.
like they've done anything super wild and crazy.
Yeah.
But there was no announcement about this show because I think you even threw out,
Yeah.
Hades, his
Yeah.
show, because when they talked about Through the Mirror and kind of the Into
Yeah.
the Evil Queen and doing all of that, when they said, okay, now we've gone up and now we're going down, when they said that, I was like, here comes the Hades announcement.
Right.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't. So we're still going to hear more about Villains Land. This also tells me how not close we are. Because I
Yeah.
think they're saving a second round of announcements for next D23 in 2 years. Like they have a D23 in between, but D23 in California in 2 years.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how much more they can really announce. They'll probably give specifics around food, around
Yeah.
merchandising, those kinds of
Show.
things. Show, like they've got to keep the hype up.
Hmm.
They got to keep that rolling down the tracks.
Totally.
But again, this was and maybe we'll just jump in before I make my statement. So, but we're gonna end this episode with kind of a what we really were psyched about taking away from
Yeah.
this D23 announcement, and then what kind of leaves us wanting a little bit more.
Yes. I love it.
So, Jenna, what from your standpoint was your prime, like, this is huge takeaway from this D23?
I'm not sure what I was expecting with the Encanto ride, but for some reason, like I knew I would like it. This all made sense, but for some reason, when I saw that concept art, it hit of, oh, this is going to be really good. Like this is going to be core kid life memories, really good. And I got extremely excited about Encanto and the future of Animal Kingdom Park for young families. So that is what I'm most excited about. What about you?
Yeah, and we knew that Tropical Americas was going to expand this park significantly.
Totally.
When the construction stabilizes, there's no way that this retains its designation as a half-day park.
Yeah, no, not happening. Tell me, what were you most excited about? Because it might be different.
It was definitely different, and mine was absolutely centered on Villain's Land. It was this piece of we are getting the scary side of what we expected. They're going,
Yeah.
you know, deep original canon. Like, give us nobody wants a nice Ursula. Nobody wants a
No.
nice evil queen. Nobody wants, a Maleficent who, don't scale back the intensity of these characters, and the fact that they've chosen the right characters for these initial rides. There are no better characters that should be getting this level of prominence than the Evil Queen and Maleficent, and that so many of the prognostications were wrong
Yeah.
was just huge for me. I was like, I mean, literally yelling on the couch. I'm sure the neighbors heard it.
Yeah. Lucas probably would have slept through it, but I'm sure the neighbors heard it. And there's such excitement for this one. I love that. And then what left you wanting more?
I think the thing that left me wanting some more, and maybe this is just continued future to come, is when do we start getting some Avengers related material on the East Coast? Like,
Mm.
Hollywood Studios is so prime.
Well, there's a contract, is there not, that prevents that?
Is there? I'm not aware.
So I had heard, and I need to fact check this. Folks who know more, please comment in the chat. But I had heard that we were really limited in what we can get on the East Coast because there was like a regional distinction of where Disney had rights to use Avengers stuff. But we have Guardians, so I'm like, how does that make sense? So anyway, I think we need
Agreed. So
to
it's for me, like, when does Avengers Campus
come to Hollywood
show
Studios.
up? Hollywood Studios, like even if it's
Yeah,
blue sky, like, right, like, give me the Tomorrowland of announcement of we're gonna do something,
yeah.
and then stop.
Well, we also
Same
have,
thing.
yeah, we have permission in Florida for a fifth park, right? The permits have been filed. That's a
Yeah.
thing. We have no concept of where, when, how, what, but I do wonder if there's potential for even a superhero focused park. Who knows? So anyway, that's down the road.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I'm sitting here having a moment. I know I gave mine. Did you give?
I didn't give mine, but you already know it. So that's why you're questioning it because you already
Okay.
know what
All
my
right.
what my
Yes.
what my wanting more is, which is of course, where is our New York departure port for Disney Cruise Line? If I can't have New York, it's harder to get to you. Mickey boat, you just are a flight away now. You cost so much more for our Canadian and even New York City friends, right? And I just was so sure. So I'm still manifesting a New York City departure port or just a greater variety of departure ports because there are so many options. So I am manifesting that for the future. And I was so sure, so confident. I would have bet money, but here we are.
And all they have to do is say yes. I mean, I'm sure there's contract language, all this kind of stuff, right? And you got to have a ship, whatever. But it's not like you've got to build anything.
No,
It's a
and
matter of it exists and it used to be there.
I'll take a couple sailings a year. I'm so happy with that. I will happily hop on a New York to Florida sailing as a transitional sailing. I like that would be amazing. So I still am manifesting this. I'm not giving up on the dream, but I was hoping for that. And we'll see. We'll see what happens as we kind of unfold. All right. We have talked all things D23 Horizons. We haven't talked international parks, but oh my gosh, this episode would be forever long if we did. Lots is happening internationally, but that's what we have for Disney Cruise Line and Walt Disney World Disneyland Resort.
Yeah, and we'll bring back some of the international information in our news segments and upcoming
Right.
episodes,
Yeah.
just so we do cover that. As you said, we'd have to do a two-parter. We really focused on the stuff we have most direct access to. So thank you to our listeners. Thank you to Jenna. This has been fantastic. Great kind of impromptu topic. Loved the pivot for today. And so thank you to everybody for supporting the podcast. You guys are what make us possible. Jenna, remind our listeners where they can find us.
At Enchanted Parks and Ports on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. You can also leave us an Apple 5-star podcast review. That really helps us out to reach more people to hear us ramble about all things Disney.
If you're more in the video format than the audio format, we do have a YouTube channel that is available, not only with podcast information. We've got some other shorts and videos and different things that relate to the parks and cruise line ecosystems. So check those out. And so, Jenna, for another week, let's remind our listeners.
Adventure is out there. Bye, friends.